Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm just doing this video. Excuse me, just had some hot salsa. Just doing this video because I was just on. I went down the rabbit hole, unfortunately, and I didn't get some of the stuff that I want to get done today on a Saturday. However, I have a solution. I was kind of half arguing with someone on Facebook, not really arguing, but just talking about this. And we know about this hesitancy thing that the mainstream media is trying to pit one group against the other, as they always like to do nowadays. So this is my, without risking the code, I have to use code words about the Action Jackson Nation, which I got from Matt McKinley of Quantum of Conscience. He's like this weird, like, New Age conspiracy guy that I watch, but I don't buy into a lot of this stuff. But a lot of it I do from a certain point of view. So this is just an idea. You don't have to agree with my like take on this at all. Like, I know a lot of people on my channel have been pretty hesitant and it's against what the government is doing with all this stuff, with the crisis, the certain thing that has 19 in the title, in the name, certain thing that goes around that is goes to other people. This is a way to try to decrease hesitancy. So I'm going to tell you what it is. And I'm not going to try, like I said, I'm going to use code words. So, excuse me, all this salsa. So, for one, fire Fauci and arrest him for the Wu-Tang Han Solo, I'm using code words, Wu-Tang Han Solo lab stuff. Like, what I mean is, like, obviously this is not going to happen. Or not, I don't mean arrest him, but like fire him and, have a huge opening thing. And some of this includes more Cold War kind of crap. Okay, I'm just going to say, right, straight flat out. This, I'm just saying this would immediately, like, help a lot of people, or convince a lot of people right now, right here. Get rid of the public health officials in the government, as far as, fire them. Just admit, come out and say, we're sorry, we lied much of the time. We not only lied, but we changed, we didn't know, we messed up, we fucked up. Okay, some type of accountability by the governments of the world, especially U.S. government. Just come out and say, we fucked up on this. We're sorry for the hypocrisy and the lies. Now, that would, just even that would help. Now, another thing among the black community, what they could do is come out, release files, say, we did all this stuff. I don't know if this would work or not, okay? I'm just giving this. We could come out and say, yes, we did all this stuff back in the day with the Tuskegee experiments and all this kind of stuff. And we're sorry about that. Maybe some compensation to the families, and and then also put, like, wait, actually work with the drug companies as far as the what that's going on now, and say, yes, if there's bad effects, you can potentially sue, stuff like that. Do something. Increase what I'm trying to say is just, I don't even mean these specific things, but just accountability, apologetics, like apologize about how much they've lied, and have some accountability for, like, some of the liberal politicians that violated their own guidelines. Like, if they don't, if they actually, like, fine them, I don't know if the statute of limitations or something, like, if, like, for example, Newsom going to the laundry, whatever the hell is called, the restaurant, back in October of last year, like fine him some money. Like he has to pay like whatever a person in California busted not social distancing or mask wearing would have. Start doing that kind of stuff. Like, you know, have these people punished for the hypocrisy. And then come out with a coherent scientific message. Say, this is what it is. This is why we want you to do this. You know, this is explain the science behind stuff. And just a combination of these things, or even the fucking accountability, like for the politicians that were, this is pre shot came out, and you know, before politicians got the shot, they were doing all this hypocritical shit, right? So that's even worse. Maybe all these like people on Twitter and stuff saying, oh well, the public health, you know, if you're not wearing a mask or you're not getting the shot, you're hurting other people. Well, these people in power were violating their own guidelines and mandates, so they were putting other people at threat too, right? So hold the people up top accountable, and then you can say, okay, this reason, this is the case rates. Oh, you know, show. Okay, I'm gonna go full propaganda mode. Do like more, like, I'm just suggesting this. Okay, I'm not saying that I want this to happen, but you mix this combination of that stuff and this other stuff, like, okay, show how this has affected people who got the illness, as far as TV shows, movies, like do some more media and just like more talk shows and stuff. Why, you know, and try to get it across. See, the messaging is so convolutedly corrupt that's why there's hesitancy with regards to this. I don't blame anybody that doesn't want to fucking get it. I'm sorry, you know. I did it for various reasons. I'm kind of approaching the age where the cutoff is, you know, I think it's 0.1% mortality for my age group, but it gets to be 0.5 in 2 years from now. Just showing my age, unfortunately. Not that old, but you know, it's just, and I'm, you know, slightly obese too. So I did it for that reason, but also I just wanted, you know, the main reason was for my job as well, like I said in a previous video. But I wanted people to leave me the fuck alone and just shut up. I got so sick of it. It was like almost like a suicidal thing, or you know, it's like just like the most extreme thing you could do. I'm like, just get it over with. Shut up. Just leave me alone. I'm gonna move on with life. Especially after May and June, with regards to, this was in June when I got it. With regards to like opening up, I'm just like, let's move on with life. I got the most normal one, the Big Johnson one, you know, which I call it. And that's the one I did, and I didn't want to do it, but at the same time, I haven't had any effects, so who knows down the line. I mean, I don't know, but you know, it's like, the thing is, the messaging and the corruption has been terrible, you know. I'm going to try to get this past, you know, I'm going to try to get this posted on YouTube. All I'm saying is that to decrease hesitancy, why don't we come out and just be honest about shit, you know? Especially in the black community, like, just talk about like what they've done, all these different experiments and stuff back in the day, you know, back in the early 20th century. Just come out and say, we're sorry, official apologies. You know, I used to be against reparations, but that's, you know, this is a little different. Like, that, you know, I'm sort of against reparations because it just goes so long ago, and a lot of people are just European immigrants that were poor and never owned slaves anyways back in the day. Like, people, you know, they're descended from that. Why get into this weird territory? But the United States, for one, they did these experiments on people of color and stuff back in the early 20th century. Maybe that's the, you know, statute of limitations. You know, there's someone's great-granddaughter. You can give them money for that. You know, Francois Ballou, by the way, great guy to follow on Twitter about the whole crisis. He said just give people $1,000, period, for them to get the thing. That's probably, I think that would be better than these lotteries and hamburgers and all this bullshit that they did. And then de Blasio was like, we're not going to give the card anymore. He's a fucking scumbag. The guy originally said it was like, it was a better outcome than the flu. The motherfucker. That guy is a pile of shit. Same with Gruesome Newsom and Cuomo, of course. Those people, see, get these fuckers out of office, first of all. Even if it's some fucking, like, crazy progressive in comparison that's at least a little more honest about where they're coming from. I prefer that to these loons. Or some fucking, you know, even a Republican. Like, right now, like with the Newsom recall, I almost think, like, maybe it would be healthy for California to have an actual Republican in there. Dare I say this? I've never said this before. Lame duck, you just, whatever, I forgot, you know, the terms for, I think it's 4 or 6 years or whatever, for a governor or whatever. Just have them do one term. It's always going to be blocked by legislature anyways. They're all liberals in California. But it would just make people think, we'll see what happens when governors overstep their bounds and are total pieces of shit like Newsom. See what happens. We got to get this corruption out of the Democratic Party. You know, it's kind of like, I mean, I guess it's analogous to the Bernie supporters that voted for Trump. But, you know, it's probably less harm than that if there was a, who knows? I mean, it would probably just be like another Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is that bad? I mean, he was kind of a neocon and stuff, and I hate all that, but it wasn't like anything worse than fucking, you know, the governor. I mean, that much of any other governor. He wasn't that bad. I would have preferred Jesse Ventura to anybody, in any position of office, but you know, but yeah, I mean, it's just so stupid. Like, they're really digging their own grave with this whole war. Leana Wen, and Don Lemon just basically becoming fascists about this. Like, us versus them. The people that don't want to get this thing and the people that did or do. And then we find out the people that did get it spread it around anyways. And it's like, it's a wash. These people... And I was just reading, you know, this Glenn Greenwald thing. He shared a lot of this stuff. What's next? We're talking about putting people in camps. I mean, if that's how the left is, I will vote for Republican in the future. If they're that authoritarian, I don't want to. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I'm not going to vote, or I'll vote for third party. But I'm just saying, like, if I had to choose at this point, if I had to choose, I mean, I almost voted for Trump. This is something I don't know if I've said this in a video before. I think I told my nephew this. Maybe I don't think I told my sister. I think I've told like 1 or 2 people this, that I nearly did it because of all the shit last year, all the mayhem that was going on with the economic devastation, the devastation of people's civil liberties, and the hypocrisy. I almost did. That close. I stopped myself because I'm like, no, yeah, this is kind of dumb. He's just as bad. I mean, in a way, he's worse because he played both sides of this whole thing. But it's like, just as I fuck you to the world, I almost did. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, 2024, I probably won't vote for either major party, but I don't know. If things got worse, like if there was actual like virus fascism from the Democratic Party and Trump was like, I'm gonna cure all that, then yeah, you know, if there was actual camps and shit, I mean, what else would you expect me to do on that? You know, where people are censored even more than they are now, or there's more like fucking like, if they ruin what's my favorite like franchise, I don't know, there's, you know, most of the franchises I like are already kind of woke, like Hellblazer. He's bisexual. Now, this is totally going off the map. Hellblazer, John Constantine was bisexual, and it was kind of hinted at in late 80s, early 90s comics, but never said explicitly until like the late 90s, early 2000s, I believe, with who was that? Azzarello. His take on that. And some of the newer comics make it a little too like on the nose, though. That's the only thing that I don't like. This sounds kind of right wing to say this, but like it's just like it's too explicit. Like, I mean, I think it's kind of funny that he fucks the devil, but still, it's like, I mean, I don't know. There was a recent comic, and just the plot was just kind of flimsy. I liked it. There was a new comic that came out, this new Hellblazer comic, that I really liked the first issue, and then I bought the rest of them. He fucks the devil. Okay, the devil's a man, and who gives a shit? But it's my favorite character. So what I'm trying to say, like, if things become more woke, and like you can't, there's like, so freedom of speech, it's like, you can't use she or he or whatever the fuck. I mean, this is insanity. Like they ban those terms, and the Democratic Party's behind that or something. Like I'm just saying, like, how I would actually get to voting for Trump, and it would have to be really extreme circumstances. I find the guy a joke, but also hilarious unintentionally too. Just like Kyle Kalinske used to say, it's like, but yeah, I probably wouldn't vote for Trump. Don't worry. But I almost did last year because I got so pissed. It's just like, fuck it all, nuke it all, destroy it all, you know what I mean? So, I don't think that he handled things the best, but I don't think that Biden has either. I don't think either of them handled our current situation with these things as good as they could have. I mean, Trump was the one calling for $2,000 checks when the Democrats were starting to say, no, only $600, at the end of the last year. I mean, I don't know how ready he would have done that. He was trying to win the election, was what it was. But if he could have won the election if that second $2,000 check went out, or first $2,000 check, not second. If he would have done, he did do a lot as far as like some of that stuff, like with the moratorium, which is now expiring, and Biden administration is not doing shit about it. The eviction moratorium. And he did do stuff like that, and some of the insurance stuff, and like all sorts of things with unemployment benefits. So Trump didn't do anything about the virus. Yeah, okay, well, he did disband Obama's pandemic team, which would it have made a difference at this point, considering how worldwide this thing is, no matter what class of politician is in governance? It's just a liberal fucking brain fart manipulative brainwashing thing to say Trump is responsible for the virus or whatever the fuck. Now, the funding of the Wu-Tang Clan Han Solo lab being put back into place, there we might be talking about something more. And then obviously there's a lot of public statements and rallies and stuff that he did that were definitely harmful in certain ways. My whole point is that it's a wash between Biden and Trump at this point, especially after the cat dog cat totally confused people the other day with the whole fucking thing that's going on now. So anyways, back to the story about the hesitancy thing. I think just coming out and saying we're sorry, instead of just hammering us in the head, feeding this division that's making people more hesitant, okay? How can you trust a government that is browbeating you, scapegoating you? It's only going to feed into conspiracy narratives, obviously. And since I've read about the whole conspiracy thing from the beginning of this whole thing, it's like and I don't know how much of it I believe, honestly. I'm more like 30% of it's true at this point. Maybe back 10 months ago, I was like, it's all gonna happen. Oh, I'm about 30% there now, 30 or 40 maybe. But that said, how are they gonna stop that if they scapegoat people, if they do more mandates, more restrictions? How the fuck are they gonna get people to take that thing? They're not. And there will be, these states that pass these these anti-mandates and stuff, like Florida and Texas, and people just go sit down there, like yours truly, possibly, depending on what happens. But yeah, it's a fucking disaster, and I think everybody just needs to come out and say we fucked up at some point. But they're so arrogant. they're full of such hubris. Fauci, fucking Rochelle Walensky, Biden, his whole administration, Trump, you know, to some extent too, as far as this whole thing goes back then. You know, a lot of his statements were like, oh, well, he's not with them. He's not with the deep state. Yeah, well, he was given his fucking rubber stamp approval to all that stuff. He's playing both sides. That's what he likes to do. He's a duplicitous Gemini. I know what it's like because I'm one. Mars and Leo too. I know the guy. Like I can see what his moves are. Like I know, I'm not a politician, but like if I were a politician, I'd probably be a little bit like that. Totally like egotistical and shit, you know. So I have that side. I have a very self-deprecating, self-hating side too, obviously. But you know, I have that side to me that has that narcissistic kind of thing. So I could pinpoint his moves. But he likes to play both sides. You could just tell. And maybe it's all bullshit astrology anyways, but only a person that like me, the Gemini would say that. Ugh. You know, I just like to play around with some of these concepts. I'm not sure what I think about it. I wonder what Tarl Warwick thinks about astrology, actually, because he publishes all these occult books. Controversial guy I never thought I'd get into, but you know, 2015, 2014, I was super into Sargon of Akkad, so I don't feel too off the pasture by being in Tarl Warwick. I know he's been accused of being a Nazi, like I did a video about months ago. You know, I know he's a Trumper and stuff, but like a lot of the stuff he says, and I'm a liberal, I'm a leftist, because I still believe in a lot of the left-wing stuff, but I can listen to right-wingers and I can listen to left-wingers. And I actually realized from Romanian V that there's nothing wrong with absorbing different sides of an equation. Of course, the left will say you're a fascist if you give an interview to the Boogaloo Boys like Jimmy Dore did, or fucking like Joe Rogan will have all these different types of weird people on and stuff. It's like, what are you gonna do? I mean, you can't win with these people, you know? You can't win. You'll never win with these people because there's always something to complain about what you're doing. Just have to live your life and say, fuck you. So, back to the original subject at hand, finally. I think the hesitancy can be quashed. It's not going to be with a stick, because it wasn't with, the carrot was so little. The carrot that they gave was so fucking little. It was a measly little, it's like a little rabbit carrot that's, you know, cut up in a, like a little circular thing. That's the carrot. And then they have this stick, this huge nightstick with spikes on it. Oh, that's really going to work compared to the carrot. Make the fucking carrot as big as that nightstick with the spikes on it. Then people will get that fucking shot. That's all I got to say.